Hi, everyone. This is April Cox, and I manage a Self-Publishing Made Simple work group and speaker series. So I know that many of you are new to my group and here to speak with and see Jonathan speak. But with your permission, I will go ahead and just do a brief introduction of what this group is all about, and then pass it over to Jonathan. And then we're going to have some Q&A. And for those who are part of my author work group, this from 9 to 10 p.m. or whenever we finish through 10 p.m., I'm also going to be here and available to answer questions for those who are stuck in their self-publishing journey. And we kind of use that as a coaching drop-in session every Tuesday. So today is a special treat for us, but a little bit about Self-Publishing Made Simple. So I started this group because when I was first starting out, there was a lot to dig through, just a lot of different conflicting information, a lot of just confusion, frustration, and just trying to just corral all the information. And I felt like we really needed something to guide people on the self-publishing journey. So that's what I'm doing with my 12-week work group. And so far we've had 2 groups of people through this 12-week group. And what we do as part of the group is I do one-on-one coaching. I do this speaker series where we have special speakers like Jonathan and others on different topics join us on a weekly basis. And I also do the work group where we follow along with Bobby Hinman's book. We have reading assignments, and we walk through step by step, A to Z, finished manuscript to published book. And I'm happy to say that we've continued to improve that process over time, where now, most recently, we've got people publishing in 9 weeks out of 12. So, and I've got another handful of more who are going to have their books published before the 12 weeks is over. So it's a wonderful group, and it is available video on demand. So if you're interested or you would like more information, feel free to reach out with me, and I can get you connected. So let's talk about Jonathan Gunsun. So he is a best-selling author, illustrator, lives in New Zealand, or as he likes to call it, down under, where Peter Jackson made Lord of the Rings, and where his brother, he says, was a hobbit. Is that right, Jonathan? A hobbit in the movie?
That's true, yeah. Tim was a hobbit, one of the hobbits in the movie, yes.
And he has sold an amazing 400,000 books. Copies of his first picture book. And today's topic, we are going to talk about how to sell truckloads of books without spending a fortune on Amazon, on advertising, or being overwhelmed and turning into a social media train wreck.
Hi everyone. Thanks very much for coming along. I'm quite amazed, really, because many people have helped me on my little journey to this point. But if you want to know about me, well, I live in New Zealand, which is like way down the end of the world, like way down under. I like to say nothing is beneath me. Yeah. So here, of course, there's only 5 million people live. So if you want to sell books, the market isn't big enough. You can't sell any books. Well, you can sell some, but you can't make a living out of it, like you say can in the United States with 300 million people, or say in the UK with 50, 60 million people. So for a long time, I was trying to write and illustrate children's books. Like there's a couple of them on the shelves behind me there that were done here locally. And, those books sold quite well, and they're very popular here, but they didn't sell enough. So it's taken me a long time. Now, one year I decided to leave New Zealand and go offshore and sell books. Now, I've been writing and illustrating since I was a kid, since I was really, really little. Drawing and sketching and so on. And so it's sort of in my blood, writing and illustrating and telling stories. And I think that's the most important thing for people, the story. I'm great about story, and I think everybody else here understands story. to a great extent, and the power of that. But me, well, I've lived here all of my life, but I travel a lot. So I go to the US. I was supposed to, I forgot, there's a guy, Eric Vanderhoop, who's really, really helpful guy in the group, who lives in Los Angeles. And I forgot to go and see him while I was there about 3 or 4 weeks ago. So sorry, Eric, I missed you. But what else can I tell you? Well, I decided to go to the UK, and I pitched a book there in the UK, and that was a very successful result. It was a huge risk because I borrowed a lot of money to do it, but it worked in the end. So now here it is like reasonably warm temperature now, and it's warming up. So this is the upside down of the world. You're just going into autumn, I think, in the States and in Britain. And here we're coming into spring. So it's just starting to warm up now, and the sun's starting to come out. So it's definitely all upside down. What else?
Okay, then let me go.
Yeah, you could just yeah, Peter said trucks. Oh, hey, look, that's pretty flash. Yeah, Realm of the Hobbits. Yeah, Peter Jackson. He was actually going to had a look at my book, and he thought about it, but I think he was kind of had enough of like hobbits and elves and everything else, so he didn't do it. But what I'm going to do today, if it's good for everyone, is this. If we can go to the next slide, which is these just 6 quick things. I'm going to try and get through these as quick as I can. How I sold 400,000 copies of my book, how that worked, and what I call the big marketing secret, and that's the most important thing of all. And then what actually gives a book sales appeal, and then how to advertise without going broke. And then this is the fun one. Are you a social media train wreck? Because most people are, I have to say. And then the final thing is the number 1 killer book selling strategy. And that is what I'm focusing on more than anything else. But we'll get to that as soon as we possibly can. So let's go to the next slide, and I'll show you what I did. How I sold 400,000 copies of my book. Well, this is the one I was telling you about that I traveled to the UK with. And it, if we go to the next slide, you can actually see it. It's called, there it is, The Merlin Mystery, The Secret Lies Inside. And this book, when I took it to the publishers, HarperCollins, they didn't want anybody else to have it. And they gave me an absolutely incredible £100,000 in advance to stop me taking it anywhere else. That was, honestly, that was completely unexpected. So what I was able to do, because I'd raised money from investors and various people to do this book, and I was able to pay them back straight out of the gate. And then everything from that point forwards that I sold would be profit. Now, the way this book worked is this. I mean, the amount of work that went into the illustrations in it is phenomenal. The secret of this book is that it's got actually a puzzle inside it. And therefore, if you solve the puzzle, you then win the prize. But if we go to the next slide, April, we'll see the sort of level of illustration that was in there. Get the next slide up on the screen.
Wow.
Let's have a look. Yeah, that is, I mean, it was immensely complicated illustrations and scattered around. If you go back one, we'll have a look. Go back a slide, Will. Yeah, in there, there's all sorts of stuff scattered around the edges. They're all clues for the puzzle. And you had to find the alchemist's spell in the story. And if you found the alchemist's spell, you could then send it in and win the prize. Now, if we go back to the next slide, you could do the next one down, the one. And we actually made that. It's about 1 meter long, and that is the prize. Yeah, that's like made of gold and silver and a crystal ball at the end, lapis lazuli. I mean, all sorts of beautiful things. And that was the big prize. So, but I thought, yeah, that'll be a great prize. And HarperCollins took on the book, and it was just published traditionally through bookstores. And you know what? They never sold a single book on Amazon. It was all just distributed through bookstores.
Wow.
And I traveled all around the place. Yep. Traveled everywhere. Germany, I went to all around southern England with the publicity people, around the various sites that are in the book. And so that's the sales. The reason the sales worked is this. If you go to the next slide, I'll show you the real reason it sold. this is the place I went to. Go to the next slide, April. There. I went to this place, the Bank of England. And the governor of the Bank of England's name was Eddie George. And he's sort of like the equivalent of the chairman of the Federal Reserve. And the only reason he talked to me was that the book was about alchemy and gold, you see. And the Bank of England holds the gold reserve for the UK. And so he said, yeah, we love this book. This is great. And so they put it in the entranceway of the Bank of England. And they floated the wand above it with all lighting around it. And so, and the reason they did that was this. I asked them if they could do this. Now, if you go to the next slide, April, you'll see. This is a whole lot of, go to the next one. Yeah, that's gold, right? Well, for every book sold, I put a tiny little grain of gold in the Bank of England. And they kept them for us there. They kept storing them up and up and up. So every book sold, a grain of gold was put there. But then I would report that on the book forum that we built. And the frenzy began. The more gold there, the more books sold. And then the more, therefore, there was more gold and therefore books sold. And it went viral. It went absolutely crazy. And so several forums sprung up with people trying to solve it and get the prize. And it went up to, I don't know, well over $100,000 worth of gold or more than that. Yeah, it was an enormous prize, plus the wand. So that's why the book sold 400,000 copies. And then the contest ended, and like, I suppose we sold 350,000 copies, full price hardcover copies. And because it's a traditional, well, that paid back all the investors, and it got rid of my mortgage as well.
Wow.
That was fantastic. You know, like it really worked. But you
So,
see,
Jonathan,
the thing is, yeah.
One question I have for you is, how did you come up with this idea? Where did it come from? Is that just part of the love of these kinds of stories?
Oh, well, that whole story is based on the Arthurian legends. You know, when I was a little boy, now I'll show you this book. This is King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table. Well, King Arthur and his knights. And that was given to my grandmother when I was 5. And so I've always been interested in, you know, King Arthur and the knights ever since. So this book, The Merlin Mystery, because the Merlin is the wizard in the Arthurian Knights, I was sort of like fascinated by that. So I eventually ended up illustrating that entire book about it. That's where the idea came from. And there was another book called Masquerade in the UK, which had a prize in it. It was a hare, a rabbit, you know, made of gold and silver, and it was buried in England somewhere. Well, I didn't want everybody going around digging up the countryside, so I, you know, put the prize back in the bank and said, "Oh, if you win it, you win the prize at the bank." So that's where that idea came from. Arthurian, King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table, and wizardry and all those kinds of things. So the book was actually full of it, absolutely full. I've got a copy of it here somewhere. Oh, you've probably seen enough pictures from that anyway, but that was a really colossally successful exercise. But you see, the thing is, that's all very well. People would say, "Oh, how on earth would I do that?" You know, and I wouldn't recommend. I wouldn't recommend ever doing that. And no, you just don't need to do anything like that to sell lots of books. I would never do that again. It was far too much work and risk and hassle. So if we go to the next slide, and I'll show, you know, this is what I think people really should do, you know, the book marketing secret. And that is, this is very important to get right. It starts here. It isn't just one trick. It's a whole sequence of things that are based on one central idea as to why books will work. The book marketing secret is, it's all about you and your ethos, your message, and what you absolutely believe in. Why are you doing this book? What is the reason for it? Why do you love it so much? Why do you want to do it? You know, so if we go to the next slide, we'll see some of the reasons why you might do this. You know, I put up, yeah, that's it. Ethos, kindness. That's it. Yeah, that's it. That's good. All of those things are the reasons that people they put these things into books because they absolutely believe that this is the reason. A lot of people believe that kindness in the world is very important, so they'll put out books about just that. There's a large number of books about diversity and inclusiveness. A large number of people very interested in that. For me, the importance of mothers is a top one. You know, how the work that mothers have to do to bring up children, that's a wonderful subject for picture books. These next two, Just Be Yourself and It's Okay to Be Different, they're very, very similar ideas, those. Carleen Frolin has put up a book, I Love Being Me, Uniquely Me. And I think that's being yourself. So, and you can see the other ones there. Now, the reason I say it's very important, and this is what will drive it, is if you do this, you will begin, it's like magnetic. You begin to attract those people who also like that. And if you're genuinely believing in it, they will follow you. They'll sense it. You can sense authenticity a mile off. If you try and make something up, like say, oh, dinosaurs are big this year, I think I'll go and do a book on dinosaurs, but you actually dislike dinosaurs, but you think they'll sell. That's not a good idea. Do something you actually love and believe in, and it will show in everything you say, everything you write, everything you draw. And it's very attractive, and people will sense it and come to you. If you see what I'm trying to say, it's the beginning of it. Yeah, it's the beginning of everything. Yeah, don't you agree, April?
I do. And one of the things that I'm learning the hard way, when I released my first book, Puppy Pickup Day, it had a lot of, the kindness and insecurity, like getting from insecurity to self-confidence. But my message was confusing. Like, people saw Puppy Pickup Day as a title and didn't quite understand what was inside. And so I think I completely agree with what you're saying. And my lesson learned is make sure that marketing message gets out, and that it's not obscured by a confusing title or a description that is all over the place and tries to be more than the one thing that it really should be.
Totally. One thing, and it's your thing. Yeah. And if you believe it, it's quite difficult for people to trust this, I find, or very often very difficult to trust it. But if you do, it always works if you really go for it. There's many other things, of course, will make a book work, but we'll get onto those in a minute. In my own case, I believe that, I like to, this is my why. I like to encourage the magic of imagination in children, because I believe that the imagination is the greatest gift that we have. And if you encourage it in children, they begin to see all sorts of possibilities. They can imagine a dream, what might be possible, And when they grow up, this doesn't stop, because once the mind's expanded and the imagination is expanded, they know how to solve problems. And they see the upside of everything and the good side and what can be possible. If you're locked into sort of sitting looking at a little screen all day, or watching television, or looking at an iPad, or just all day not using your imagination, that won't happen. So I like to encourage that. And picture books, because they're real, they're made of paper. You turn the pages, and the children get to own them, and it's on the shelf, and they know where they are, and it's theirs. And they become a little bit dog-eared and loved. They remember that story, and they go back to it. So I believe, the imagination is extremely important. Now, I'll show you a few little books in the next slide that have this, thing that people believe in. Now, Seeds and Trees by Brandon Walden, you'll be totally familiar with that. That's about, if you look on the left side, there's this ratty old tree, and on the right side, there's this beautiful dark green and pretty tree, and that's the power of words. He believes if you say the right things to children and encourage them in the right way, words, the power of words, you're planting good seeds. You use bad words, you plant bad seeds. This is a beautiful, lovely ethos to drive by. And he believes every word of that, Brandon. You can see it in everything he says, everything he believes, and it's projected out through this book and into the marketplace. And people can sense it and smell it and feel it. That's why it works. Yeah. And it's the same thing with, you agree? Mm-hmm. Well, it's the same with Ricky the Rock that couldn't roll. This is about the love of friends. If you've got friends around you, you can't beat that. They will help you. It's all about the love of the friends and everybody around you. Now, Nani's Moon, that's a beautiful book. Don't you love that cover? This is about using the moon, her family in this kid is far away. So she's using the moon to send messages to her mother. I think that was the story, you know, and it's all about family connection and the importance of family and togetherness and human connection. Yeah, it's just lovely. Now, Diane's book, I'm Not Just a Scribble. This is a terrific idea. I love the whole thing with the actual scribbles kids can do. And she's got stickers on the back and you can put eyes on the scribbles they make. And the idea behind this book, I'm pretty sure, correct me if I'm wrong, Diane, at some point, is that it's not just what's on the surface that matters. You know, you can't judge a book by its cover, shall we say, but it's not just on the surface. I'm not just a scribble. There's a lot more to me than that. And I think it's a really nice message to put out there. Yeah. And so that's what that book is all about. So you can see people who believe in these things, it shows in the titles, right? Yeah. Well, in my case, as I said, I believe in the power of imagination with children. And so what I do in my book, upcoming book, and in my past books, have tried to make it as imagination capturing as possible, to excite the imagination as much as possible. So if you go to the next slide, it shows, it shows in the ebook the opening picture. And, you know, let me tell you, there once was a very small bear, this is how the story goes, who dreamed of flying. And it's all about dreams and follow your dream. But, you know, everyone said he was too little, but he always wore goggles, a great big pair of flying goggles, just in case they changed their minds, which is why all of his family called him Goggles. So if you go to the next slide, you'll see the title of the book, Goggles, the Bear Who Dreamed of Flying. And as you can see, I'm the writer illustrator and Richard Robinson's the illustrator. Now that image there is in fact the ebook cover. You first sort of spread in the ebook, which is exactly fits a tablet. And we're absolutely thrilled with the book ourselves. We're very pleased with the way it came out. On the cover of the book, I should actually go to the next slide. We can see the actual cover there. And I mean, we're just knocked out by how it's come out. But down at the bottom of the book, you can see this sort of big badge there with wings, a gold shiny badge. That's the Wright bears, first bears to fly. So Goggles and his family are the Wright bears, like the Wright brothers, the very first bears to fly. And so that badge is a great way to introduce the idea that this is the first book in a series. Yeah. So I thought I would choose today to show that book. I mean, it is about imagination. And if you go to the next picture, April, you see this sort of imagery that is in it about the power of imagination. You know, there's bears and the clouds, and there's balloons and rainbows, and this tiny little plane and this great big sky.
It is stunning, Jonathan. It is just stunning.
Ah, thank you. Well, yeah, it was just a little bit of work in there. Just a little bit of work on the illustrations. Yeah, but we got there in the end. Yeah. So what I thought I'd move on to next, how are we going? Oh, we're about half an hour, so we're not doing too badly. I said I'd keep it to half an hour, we're only halfway through. Never mind. What gives a book sales appeal? Let's have a look at that next, because that's, you know, see, all of this I come back to is driven by what's behind it, the why. Yeah, so if you got your why in the right place and you got your thinking right, it's going to get into all of these other areas of the book sales appeal. The story's going to show it, and will the illustrations, the cover, and of course, if you run it across a series, it's going to go even further. Don't underestimate the power of this, the why. I'm going to keep saying it. Let's keep saying it. Now, so let's start with story. Let's have a look at the next slide and start with story. You know, is your story a page turner? The thing is, what's the big secret in your story? Do you have one? And that's what'll actually make it work. Will Ricky the Rock roll? You know, can Scribble make friends in Diane's book? Will Nonny hear her mother through the moon? And does Goggles the bear ever fly? Well, you know, life lessons using story power in each of those is a very successful way of going about it. So we go to the next slide, we'll see some books that do that. I'm coming back to the same books. Each of those life lessons that are in there, you know, they're not just sort of little fun story with no meaning. They each have something to say, a message that you're putting across. Like that list of messages I gave you originally. They're not all the messages, They were just some of them. But you know what your own message is. I'd actually love to know, and maybe in the Q&A at the end, what some of the other people's messages are, what they're trying to say. I'd love to hear that. That'd be great. That'd be okay, April?
Oh, absolutely.
Let's find that out. Okay, now if we go to the next slide, I find this very interesting. This here, life lessons direct. Now, they're sort of using stories, these books, but they're saying it out front. Boys can be strong and emotional. Find your happy. You know, I mean, Patsy Bunfield's book there, Find Your Happy. That's a very successful book. And there's Carlene's book on the top right, I Love Being Me, Uniquely Me. It's saying it out front. It's not really, there may be a story in there, but it's actually saying it out front, the lesson. A little spot of kindness. That's right in your face. And that is a very successful book, apparently. And the bottom right one, I Can Handle It. Well, that's a whole row of books, as people probably know, by Laurie Wright. Now, her books, she's got a whole row of them, and they all say things like that. Actually, Laurie, I think you should do a whole series of books like, I Know How to Annoy My Parents. Yeah. Yeah. I know how to steal a chocolate. Yeah, I think that'd be great. Yeah, I'm taking it up. Yeah. So that's, life lessons direct. Now, which way around do you do it? Do you tell a story, or do you use life lessons direct like that? Well, in my view, a story will convey a message far more powerfully than saying it direct, if you know what I mean. However, I'm a bit torn about this because these books, like Find Your Happy, Spot of Kindness, I Can Handle it. They're all very successful. So I very much hesitate to say, don't do that. I mean, they just work. And I think teachers and large groups and carers like buying these books because it gives them a lot of support. So there's the two ways of doing, getting a life lesson across. But whatever it is, you need to actually believe in it and project in it. And every step that you take will echo with it. Don't you agree?
I do, yes. And I found that when I was surveying parents and asking, what it is about books that draws them to it, it was kind of 50-50. Some were like they wanted stories that were really engaging for the kids that they could have fun with. And then others said, I'm going to look for a specific topic that I want to work on with my child. And so it was funny to see that it was pretty evenly split, at least in the survey that I did. And so it depends on the audience of, which they're going to gravitate towards.
Isn't that interesting? See, I just learned something there. So yeah, I mean, the reason I don't do books like this is simply because I like the power of story. I like to play around with the story and fantasy and imagination. But these books are tremendously valuable. Okay, well, look, let's move on to the next thing, which is the next thing in your book, the illustrations. Now, if you go to the next slide, you'll see one from Brandon Walden's book. I don't think he'd mind if I put these up there. I mean, I just put them. I just think his illustration work that he's had done is absolutely sumptuous, beautiful. And it cost him $15,000 to have these illustrations done for his book. And he's recouped the money again and again and again. And in the illustrations, yet again, his idea of good words, kind words comes through. The kind words that are said, and they will grow great things. Dark trees will grow from dark words. Green, bright trees will grow from good words. So everything he says is coming through. And his people, I would say that he would be building a tribe of people who believe exactly the same thing, and they will pick up on it. And the more you do that, the lower your cost of promoting their books get, the more people will talk about it amongst their friends, tell other people, and more people will buy the books. And they'll go out there under their own steam. Let's have another look at a couple more illustrations. Next one down. That's Diane's book. Isn't that just scrumptious? I love that. She's thrown this paint down to create all these characters and put eyes on them. And this is an extremely effective form of illustration that communicates instantly. And of course, she's a graphic designer. She's really lucky. So she can produce these books of that quality really quite quickly. And the rhyme she's using makes sense. Do you notice that in Jay Valetsky's books and in her books, when you read their rhyme, there's no little trip-ups in them. They just flow. Soon they made orange from yellow and red, then violet showed too, and red and blue spread. It rocks and rolls along. Next came indigo, a deep navy hue. It happened when violet dashed quickly by blue. So it's really easy to read these rhyming books, and to get rhyme that good is actually quite a lot of work. You know, you could just say, oh, well, I'll just do my best. No. You have to get it right. Yeah. Next. Oh, I know what's next. There's this really well-known author who does these beautiful illustrations called work done for April Cox. I mean, these are just lovely. You know, the quality's there. The two beautifully done rabbits meet the dog, and then off they rush together. In the sky above, there's birds flitting around on the right-hand side, and yeah. And I think I've got another couple of illustrations. The next one is absolutely astounding. Let's have a look at the next one. I'm talking about quality of illustration here will help sell a book. This is Jay Valetsky's upcoming book, Patrick Picklebottom and the Penny Book. And when Richard and I saw this, we thought, oh, gosh, all the work we're doing, this is even better, you know. Isn't that absolutely gorgeous?
It is. I mean, it's just beautiful.
And did you notice something? That Jay's actually stuck a little Easter egg in there. See the little rocket sitting on the books? Yeah.
Yep.
Well, the book underneath it's called Ricky the Rock. That's fun. Putting your earlier books in the illustrations. Yeah. Now I want to make a point about illustrations. These illustrations are expensive and there's a lot of work in them. But if we go to the next slide, we will see something quite different. Now, these illustrations are very simple, but you know what? They're just as effective. Yeah, super powerful illustrations. They have to be done by a competent person, of course, who's a really good illustrator, but they only take a fraction of the amount of time that those other illustrations would. So I wouldn't feel intimidated by having to do, you know, those incredibly complex, beautiful, detailed illustrations. It's not necessary. You know, like Laurie Wright's series of mindful mantras, those little books you saw, I Can Do It. I don't think those are very expensive illustrations, but they're very effective. So the point is that they have to be right and they have to project what you feel and think for people to pick up on it. Yeah, I'll just go sip of water. Yeah.
I do love this simplicity, and I see the same thing in Diane Alber's books. They're just beautifully illustrated, very bright and lovable characters go a long way.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, to get each of these aspects of a book correct, you know, if they're all done right, the sequence of things, right from the beginning of getting ethos in the right place and steep it through absolutely everything you do and say, right through marketing, right through advertising, right through illustrations, and the text you've got in your book and everything else, it begins to really work for you. So if we have a look at the covers of books next, now the cover in the next slide, I mean, if you have a great image on the front of your book and a title that actually means something that people will get immediately, oh, I know what that book's about. Like in my book, Goggles, the bear who dreamed of flying. It's like, oh, what's going to happen? Will he fly? And you immediately know what that book is about. And I've put up a few more books here, which are, and these are red hot advertisements for your book. Well, I mean, that just says it immediately. Ah, yes, the very hungry caterpillar. That is instantly communicate what it's about. A fabulously beautiful image done in a paper style. The very, very hungry caterpillar. Oh, is he going to get something to eat? Yeah. And here's more. The giraffes can't dance. Oh, you just know when you see that cover that the giraffe is going to be able to. And if animals kiss goodnight, well, what are they all going to be doing? It's going to be lovely to watch. Beautiful, immediately recognizable covers with a sensational image. And there's one more in particular that I think is absolutely hilarious, and it's the Grumpy Monkey. This is a New York Times bestseller, you know, and it's each time I see this image, it makes me laugh. But it's so effective, and yes, it's relatively simple. Yeah. All right, now let's have a look at the next thing, book series. Now, if you have a series, I say it beats one-offs hands down, because when children are reading a book that has a character in it that you get to know, like like the yeah, little labradoodles, right? Or my book Goggles, or let me see now, Stacy's book, Cammy the Kangaroo. You got these characters in there that people come to know and love, and kids want more and more and more of them. So each time you do a book like that, you requires you to do less and less and less and less marketing, less and less cost, less promotion, because each book sells the other, and they become collectible. And sometimes people will buy the whole lot all at once. Each book that comes out, they can't wait for the next one. So the money you spend on the first book, this is called read through. It goes through and pays for all of the other ones. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's a fantastic way to cut the cost down of advertising, marketing, and promotions, is by doing a series. Yeah, it's just so obvious to me. Now let's have a look at some series that have worked. See, the Pout Fish. I mean, Deborah Dyson, she could have just done the first book and left it at that. But when she discovered how popular it was, blam, 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 out came all these other books. And she's making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year out of these books. She may be making $1 million a year. I don't know, but it wouldn't surprise me. But that's purely because it's a series, purely because when you see the Pout Fish, you go, oh, I know what that'll be about. That's a grumpy fish. I wonder if he stops being grumpy in the end. So the same thing. And she loved doing this, apparently. It's everything she believes in, that how people could be cheerful and happy, you know? So it comes from the heart from her, and you immediately see it projected in that book, the Pout Fish. This really, really grumpy looking fish. Yeah. And then also this little series I think you might have heard of, maybe Once Upon a Time, Harry Potter. That's the sheer power of a series. I can tell you a little story about this. J.K. Rowling, quite a long time ago, I went into Soho Square in London with my book, the Merlin Mystery one you saw before, and to see the publisher, Bloomsbury Publishing. And I went to see the editor there with this book of mine and said, what do you think? You know, because I wanted them to publish it for me. And she said, well, this is really lovely. The trouble we have is we don't have a kind of a slot that we can put that into. But if you go and see HarperCollins, they will probably would. I'll give the editor there a ring. That's how helpful people can be. And she did. And that actually worked. But when I was going out of the room, sitting in the hallway, waiting to pitch her book was another person. This blonde woman with this package under her arm, and she went in. And it turns out Liz Calder, the editor, accepted her. And that woman was J.K. Rowling. And that was when she was pitching Harry Potter.
Wow.
I was there right on the day. I went right past, we crossed swords. They didn't do my book, but they did hers. And then I think a much bigger publisher took it over. But I talked to Liz Calder relatively recently. She said, didn't that turn out well? You know, so thing is, you never know who you're going to run across in this business. You never know what's going to happen, but a series is tremendously powerful. Now, I thought I got really, really smug because I got £100,000 advance for my book. And I happen to know that JK only got £1,500 from Bloomsbury for her book. Guess who had the last laugh? So there you go. Well, I haven't had anything to do with J.K. Rowling since, but yeah. Now, another series, if we can go to the next slide, to come back to it, is this. I'm just not the same league as Harry Potter, but the point is it just works. And I think it earns Laurie a very good living, and I think she's just said she's just going to retire her husband now because they're making enough money out of these books. Yeah. And just go to the next one. And this one here, I see, this is Stacy Schopenhorst Bauer. I think I pronounced her name right. And Stacy C. Bauer. She's even got a logo for a series, Cammy the Kangaroo and Wyatt too, because she knows the power of series and she knows what it's going to do. And she's done the second book and she's now on the third. And I think at the moment in the group, she's wrestling whether to actually do it or not, because it's about too much screen time. So I'll be interested to see how that goes. But in the end, when she's got 3 or 4 of these running, they'll all begin to sell each other and it just works.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So let's go how to advertise your books without going broke. Now, the honest truth of the matter here is I don't have a book on Amazon at the moment, but I will be shortly. But I have been closely following those who are doing this, like Brandon Walden, Jay Maletsky, everybody else, Patsy, everybody, and seeing what they're doing. And it's become apparent to me, quite clear, what actually works. So if we go to the next slide, we'll see. See, Brandon, I just used Brandon's book there as an example. Your Amazon ad, I mean, it just shows the book. And that's why the cover is so important, because you want to get people to click on it. And if it's really hot and looks great, then they get to the description page. And the description page is where all the work is done. Now, if you've got a really beautiful cover and a great description, and the book is perfectly targeted to the right audience, to your tribe, and it's got your ethos behind it, and you love everything about it, you love it, you've got to do it, then it'll show. And you will sell a lot of books. And the cost of Amazon advertising will come down. You know, the cost will go through the floor. And if you do a second book and a third book in a series, and I understand Brandon has been persuaded to do a second and third book of the prince in this story, the same will happen with him. Thing is, the second point I'm making under that is the big build early on and the algorithm kicks in. Well, what he discovered was, and he's not the only one, is that if you get out of the gate with a good push and get going, really building and building and building for the first few weeks, the first few months, Amazon, if you sell plenty of books during that time by spending a lot of money, maybe you'll only break even. But if you do that, what happens is Amazon think, oh, this is an important book. We're going to make some money out of this. And they put it on the customers who bought this also bought this. Customers who read this also read this. And they'll put it in their letters and their emails, and they'll start to promote it for you. And Brandon's cost of advertising has just come down and down and down and down and down as a result. So the thing is to build early and trust the process. If you trust your book, put the money in and spend it. And you may run out, but the algorithm should kick in and start doing a lot of the work for you. Yeah. Now, finally, BookBub ads. Yeah, BookBub, well, you can send people over to your free book. It's just to get reviews. You know, reviews sell, you know. And so if you run a BookBub ad to the free day, you'll get thousands of people downloading your book, and many will leave reviews. And reviews, of course, sell. So that's all I would say about advertising at the moment. Now, let's go to the next one. Yeah. Are you a social media train wreck? Let's go to the next page. That's actually the train falling out the back of the station in Paris about, 1920 or somewhere around there. Folks, don't be this guy. Don't you see in the Facebook groups, people put up the book saying, buy my book, available now, buy it now. And so they join 15 different Facebook groups and Pinterest and Instagram and Twitter, and they just chuck the books up there. They say, buy now, this isn't going to do the job. All you do is annoy people doing that. And not only that, you actually run out of energy because it's a lot of work doing all of that. It's best to just focus on just one or two channels and talk to people about your book. Introduce the subject. Like I see people talking about their books a long way beforehand, saying, this is coming soon. This is about to arrive, and here it is. And that's how to get the people to buy. Yeah. So that is a focus on just a couple of channels. The marketing director of L'Oreal, Rachel Weisz, they only use Facebook and Twitter. They don't have the resources to do a whole load of channels, a big company like that. So no author is going to be able to really. Yeah. So what do we got next, April? What do we got next? Guess what? This is the thing. You get them off social media and onto your email list. Well, why would you use an email list? Well, let's have a look at the next slide and I'll explain why. Because if you've got an email list of potential customers or of parents and grandparents who you've collected up, you can do a free book promotion at any time, no cost. It beats social media 100 times over. I tell you, I have 134,000 followers on Twitter, right? Yeah, it's real. And if I had a list of 100,000 email subscribers, guess which I'd choose? The email. Because if I put up a tweet on Twitter that says, here's my new book, it's over at Amazon, enjoy it, with a little bit of a lead in on Twitter, I might make 1 or 2 sales. But if I send that out to an email list of 100,000 people saying, at last, here's my new book, the one I've been talking about, here it is, it's live now, it'll probably make 100 or 200 sales. So it's 100 times as effective. Now, there are other ways of doing this, such as like on Instagram, such as Diane uses, and she's, I think, quite conversational over there and pushes it really, really well. So you get actual book buyers on tap if you do it right, free and forever. And as I say, it drastically reduces the advertising cost.
Jonathan,
So,
we have a question from Karina saying,
yeah.
Is doing a giveaway to get them to sign up for your email list a good idea?
Yeah, let's go to the next slide. Trade a free book for your parents' email address. You're right on the money there, Karina. Yeah, I give away a free ebook. And that's Mr. Smudge's Thirsty Day. That's actually the very first book I ever did. And I just turned it into an ebook and I give it away. And I haven't really started to push it yet, but I'll put it up on the group, the Facebook group, and various other places for free. But I'm also going to advertise it using Facebook. And if we go to the next slide, you can actually see the page that I'm using to do that. Beautiful free children's picture book, Mr. Smudge's Thirsty Day. And you just click the download, and it takes you. If anybody wants to go and download it, help yourself. Freebook.fun. That's where it's at. But yes, that will get people on the email list. And then here's the thing. Remember what I said about don't be a social media train wreck? You could do the same thing with email, saying, buy my book, buy my, no. What you do is you say, I have found some very interesting things on the net for parents. Have a look at this article. And it might be about, children with picky eating food, like really interesting article about how to solve that, and how to entertain children during the holidays. I found this wonderful thing. And my own book's coming up soon. I'll tell you a little bit more about that later. And you gradually communicate by being very personable with email, so that when you eventually pitch your book out, wow, you're going to get hundreds of sales off an email list. And you just keep pushing it, keep building the list, keep putting the messages out. It's extremely effective. So there's another trick, though, that I use. Not just the email itself or sending people to Amazon saying, go check it out at Amazon, my new book, but there's something else. In the back of this Mr. Smudge's Thirsty Day book, I've actually got an ad. So if you go to the next page, this is what it says from the author. Thank you for reading Mr. Smudge. My next story is about a very small bear with a very big dream. He wants to fly. Yeah, if your children love Winnie the Pooh, Paddington, they'll love Goggles the Flying Bear. See the next page. And if you go to the next page, in the next slide, you can go and get the book. So the ebook turns into a relentless 1,000 times free ad for your books on Amazon. And the more free books you can give away, or things you can give away with an ad in the back, the better. But remember that this is a much more effective ad than an ad on Facebook or on Amazon, simply because people have been reading and enjoying a book of yours, and then they can get another one. So they're already in book reading and enjoying mode. So this is the book down the back of your free book. If you've got an extra book to give away, great. Most people don't, but look, that's something to work towards too. And this is the thing that I'm focusing on, building an email list and talking to people and pitching out. And so that really gives you an overview of the way I'm going about this, selling lots of books. And I keep coming back to this. The ethos of why you are doing this is the most important thing. And if you love what you do, it'll roll out into everything, what tricks you might pull, or anything they'd like to know about me, or how I did things, or the Merlin book, etc. I've actually got a copy of the Goggles book here. I got an advanced copy.
Nice.
So I'm pretty thrilled with that. Yeah.
Beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous. I can't wait to get mine. Beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah. So over to you, April.
Yeah, so we'll open it up for questions. When is the release date? That's a new question from Karina as well.
Okay. It'll be the middle of this month, September, middle of September, around about the 15th, 17th, close to there. That's the ebook. And then I'll put the print book about October 15, well, about a month later. So that's when that's coming out. Yeah. I thought I'd put the ebook up there and put the print book on pre-order. And I'll put the print book up on pre-order at a lower price so that if people want to get the book early, they can place a pre-order and I'll cut the price, I don't know, by $5 or something. The full price of the book will be like standard $17.95, but I'll probably drop it down to about $12 or $13, something like that, for people who want to get it early. I've got a list as long as my arm of people who want it already, which is really nice thing to happen. You know, yeah. you do get a bit nervous about this as to whether, you know, this is going to work or not. But yeah, I know
this will be truly your first self-published book, right? Or no, you did the previous one, right?
No, this is the first self-published book I've done. Yeah.
Nice.
Number one. Yeah. So I did see a question from Karina pop up there, something about, what did she say?
So Bethany was asking, I love seeing the seal of awards on the books. How do you find out about award opportunities?
Oh my goodness, I'm not an expert on awards, but one thing I would say about them is get a real award, you know, like from a real award organization, like from a large media organization or from a large, you know, print organization that sells a lot of books, because you can actually spend a lot of money entering an award contest. And I'm going to have to find out about this as I go along, but I wouldn't really recommend spending money to get awards. You know, you are in a contests for awards. I might find some information about that. And it's a really good subject, Bethany. If I've actually started a website, by the way, and I'm going to be blogging on there, and I reckon that's a very good subject for a blog post. And my website is jonathangunsun.com. So if you go over there, you can see my website, and there's goggles is up the front there, big. But as far as award seals go, yeah, that book, Mr. Smudge's Thirsty Day, that won the Silver Award for the Book of the Year. So in the end, sold about 50,000 copies of that. But yeah. So I'd help people more with getting awards, but I'd have to find out more about that myself. So I'm in the same boat you are.
Yeah, and I'll just add that a lot of my graduates of the Self-Publishing Made Simple have been requesting that topic. And so I'm actually in the process of pulling a bunch of information together. And I have a special speaker who's going to come in from the Mom's Choice Awards, so that she's agreed to talk a little bit about the specific awards that they have on their side and the publicity that they bring to that award. And I also have I have a list that I'm starting to compile. So once I get that out there, I'll probably be selecting the date, and we'll have something out there that you can register for within the next few days. Probably by the end of the week, I'll have something up there, at least while I assemble the course or the webinar.
Well, I would definitely attend that webinar. Yeah, I'd like to know that too. Mom's Choice, yeah. Yeah, I'd love to know about all that. Yeah. I actually doing some deals as well with other people who have huge email lists, and I'm doing little special editions of the Mr. Smudge book for them, and they're going to send it to their list. And of course, remember that in the back is the ad for the goggles book, so I get that free coverage. So that's another little tip I forgot to mention. Yeah.
So how many books, Karina's asking, how many books are going to be in your series?
We've got 5 planned so far. We may do 7. We got the next one is in this first book, like the bear learns to fly, he gets to fly. And, you know, and that's pretty exciting. And his grandparents are based on the Wright brothers, like Orville and Wilbur Wright is Growlville and Wilma Wright, the bears, which is a bit corny, but hey, it kind of worked. But in the series, the next book, he gets his own plane, and he just flies in their plane, which is called the Wright Flyer. The next book gets his own, And it's quite magical how that happens. There's a lot of magic involved. And then the third one is like to do with pirates. And then the one after that's to do with space. And the one after that's to do with honey, you know. So, but we might do a sixth and seventh. Depends when we run out of steam, you know.
Awesome.
Yeah, so that answer the question, yeah.
So Bethany is asking, what are the benefits of having an author blog site? She's been hearing a lot about that lately.
Well, it goes like this. If you have an author blog, that's great. And it does provide, if you get people on the email list, like I was saying, then you've got a place to send people to for interesting things that you've posted. And that could just be parents on your list. You say, I've got this stuff I've discovered. I've seen another site called The Measured Mom, and she has all sorts of like things she gives away on there to parents. And she runs a blog and giveaways and so. So that's really the purpose of the blog. I think just to talk about your books all the time on the blog is not very interesting for other people, that alone. You know, if you just did that, it's good for publicists if you say, oh, well, you can find out all about my books and you can go to my website and all the information about the book is there. That's useful. That is very useful because then they can go and get all the information they like the media from your website if you've got it all there. So and about you as well, the author. That's the great use of it. As far as blogging goes and keeping on putting out information, that should be linked up with what you do with the things you send out by email. Those two things work hand in hand. And I've always found that worked really well in the past with blogs. Yeah.
Yeah. So Rebecca's asking, are there any digital illustration courses that you would recommend?
I don't know. I kind of like bought a Wacom tablet and then I kind of figured out how to use it by looking at YouTube videos all over the place. And then I did, you know, the little background for the Wacom tablets. And digital painting, once you get a grip on it with a Wacom tablet and a pen, it's really a beautiful medium because you can do watercolor or anything. But I have found that it's not that great for sketching. It's got a fractional lag in it and it doesn't quite do what you can do with a pencil and paper. So I still use pencil and paper to start with and then I scan it in. But as far as courses go, I think Marco Bucci, B-U-C-C-I, runs a course. So you can look at that. He's a master digital artist, painter. I'm sorry I can't help you any more than that. But YouTube's the way I learned. Yeah, self-taught.
I can just add one thing. For those that know about self-publishing made simple, one of the illustrators that I work with very closely is Pencil Master. And Pradeep Mehra is the owner of Pencil Master. They have like 17 different illustrators in their group. But he and I have been talking about putting together a course. So he wants to do like a 6-session thing and is just going to charge like $10 a piece for anyone that wants to learn illustration. So I told him I'd be glad to help him with coordinating that, and that any author, illustrator, or author that wants to learn how to illustrate is welcome to come, and we'll just do a nominal fee, and that goes to Pencil Master for the time that he's spending.
Yeah, that sounds wonderful. Yeah, I'd be interested in having a look at that myself. There's always something to learn.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Bridget's saying also watching YouTube digital speed paintings helps a lot too. That's always fascinating to me.
Yeah, look how quickly it happened.
Yeah. So I know you said you wanted to get some you would like others to answer your question about what is their why, or what's the ethos that drives their writing and their series. Do we have anyone who would like to share? Feel free to take yourself off of mute and answer the question from Jonathan.
Well, yeah, I'd just like to know what you like, what you love, and what's in your stories. As simple as that. What's behind it? I'm just so interested in that because I can't think of them all, and other people have many ideas.
Yeah, so I'll start with mine. So the new book
Yes,
that's
please.
coming out is an anti-bullying book. It's the second book in my Little Labradoodle series, and the series itself really focuses on this tiny little dog, and it's based on my own dog, right? That was the runt of the litter, and he always has trouble doing everything. Like learning things comes very slowly to him, but he doesn't give up, and he is courageous even though he's afraid. He does move forward with things. And this next book in the series focuses on anti-bullying, which is a really important topic for me as a
Right.
mom of 4 kids, and now they're grown, and as a person myself who's faced bullying in the past. um, I had 2 of my kids, one of which who was bullied so bad in middle school that it was like a life-threatening situation for her, and I had to pull her out of middle school, and we put her into a private Christian school near our home because one of the bullies followed her home and pushed her into the traffic of an oncoming car. So this was, bullying is such an important topic, or anti-bullying, and
Yeah.
is also one of the prime reasons for kids in that middle school and high school years, of suicide and so much. So my goal is with this book to get children in that early school age and start talking about anti-bullying and pulling them together so that it's
I
about
can
forming
see.
a club, of
I
forming a.
can.
I can
I
see
can
you.
see
They're
you.
saying I can
Oh,
see me. Yeah, so from my perspective, it's about, so the whole premise of the book is about taking, that anti-bullying theme, and where this little dog gets bullied at the park, and then when he actually looks around, that it's the bullies that are in the minority, and there's a number of other animal friends, dogs, animal friends, who are not, who are always having the same issues. So they decide to form a club, the Little Labradoodle Club, where there's no bullying allowed, and
nice.
they focus on making a positive, providing positivity and making people feel welcome and standing up to bullies and doing things not only about anti-bullying but helping in their neighborhoods. And basically the club turns into a very positive, empowering thing, so that
Ah,
those individuals who are being bullied and lost their power are able to take their power back and join together. So that's kind of the premise of the book. And now I have to put that into a clear message, Jonathan, that won't
yeah,
confuse people. And that's kind of my challenge in marketing of the book and making sure that the message doesn't get lost.
that's very clear. That's very nice. I like the sound of that a lot. Yeah, yeah.
Anyone else
I mean,
would like to share a little bit about their stories and the why on the book that you're working on currently?
I could share a little bit. Can you hear me?
Sure.
Hi. Hey, so thank you, Jonathan, for doing this interview. It's been a lot of fun.
oh, it's
And of
my
course,
pleasure. I just hope it was useful.
I just wanted to say that my book is about the theory of panspermia. So it's been quite the struggle, and I thought it would be fun to create a children's book where parents, while they're reading to their children, with their children, can help them learn about features in space and how some things may have come to Earth. And it's been quite a struggle because it's not easy to make the Oort cloud or the Kuiper belt, or the heliosphere interesting to children. So if I can pull it off, then maybe Jonathan, you'll do an editorial review for me.
Sure. Yeah, I'll do that.
All righty.
I'll do that. Yeah, yeah. That sounds like a wonderful book. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's been a long time coming. So it's been quite a struggle because I didn't find the group until just this past spring. So
Oh, that's your interest. That's your passion, So I can tell in your voice that you love everything about it. So it's going to work, you see. Yeah, I'll help you.
I could see teachers really looking for that in order to get kids interested and help explain those topics. So that'll be an awesome thing to put a curriculum around.
I
It's
hope,
terrific.
yeah, and I'm
I mean, you can see lesson plans as well.
yeah, I'm going to, the stickers will be incorporated with the book. Things are going to be shrink wrapped to it just to help children. If they put a sticker into the story, I think they will pay attention to it more and they can
Oh, yes, that's very clever. Nice. That's a really nice idea. Yeah. Yeah, put the stickers on the heliosphere and the planets and, nice. Yeah, all that interactivity pays off, doesn't it? This is another thing. Can I just add something there? And that is eBooks versus printed picture books. You know, I mean, the thing about a picture book is that, you know, you've got this thing. It's a thing, you know, and you can turn it and the light comes off it. And you turn the pages in it. It's all tactile, you know, and it moves and the light goes across it and it smells and all sorts of other interesting tactile sensory things. And when children are reading books like that or having it read to them, they are gaining a huge amount of uptake that you would not get if you had it on a flat iPad or tablet. It just doesn't do it. It's static. The light doesn't change. It's dead. So I'm a huge fan of paper print books as against, you know, electronic devices, because it just doesn't have the same communication power as a paper picture book for all those reasons. Don't you agree?
I'm a little torn. I love the handheld, you know, I love the idea of holding on to picture books, but I've also started to get into some of the new things that are coming up on interactive books. And there are some really great things happening where you can incorporate video and animation and really bring the book to life. So I'm starting to really lean towards doing more and more with that myself.
Well, that then moves the book, if you want to know my view, into another area. That makes it video entertainment, which is like television programs and so on and so forth. It is starting to not be a book anymore. The reason, I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but that you could confuse the two things. See, like a book is something where the children bring their imagination to it. You get them to use their imagination. They motivate it. Their minds take over. If you start doing it all for them, then that happens less and less and less. That's not necessarily a bad thing. Then it becomes more entertainment rather than involving. That's the only point I would make against sort of putting a whole load of interactive features. Little bits, I reckon, work really, really well. Little bits of motion here and there. I think they work beautifully. They do bring it to life more. Yeah.
Right. I agree. Yeah, I can definitely see that there's some drawbacks as well. I guess it depends on how you incorporate that interactivity for sure.
Exactly. I don't think there's anything wrong with some. Yeah, it can actually bring it to life, make it attractive to open and read. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I can see that.
Would anyone else like to share a story?
Just why you do things.
Yeah, why are you writing the particular book? What's your driving and motivating factor?
Thanks, Karina. Thank you.
Hi, April. It's Aneta.
Hi, Aneta.
Hi, Jonathan. Thank you for a wonderful evening. And thank you for saying all those great things. And congratulations on your new book. It's fantastic. I was really admiring the pictures come to life, illustrations. It's beautiful. It's absolutely stunning.
Okay. Glad you're having a good time. Thank you. That's good. Yeah.
I just wanted to show you my perspective. April knows I shared it with her. I have music and movement education background for preschoolers and early childhood. So I was just composing my books and turning them into picture books. And I knew it will be a series. I committed a disgraceful mistake. April knows what I'm talking about. I split it into seasons, which is terribly hard to promote. So here is my autumn song. Here is summer, of course, spring and winter. So I have all 4 books. So now there is a lot of interactive features. I have an app developed to it with sounds and instrument sounds and music recordings plus 4D animation, augmented reality animation that actually you can see the characters pop up from the pages of the book. It was really challenging, and it's still challenging to promote it. So
that
of course,
sounds really hard to do. That sounds like a huge amount of work.
It still is, because now I'm revamping all the videos on my YouTube. So it's all 9 yards of work for seasonal books, which is really not paying off. Let's say it's good.
Yeah. I mean, I would.
I love that my school kids are still loving songs, but main aspect besides the music was to create a character that is gender neutral, that will be a child that will appeal to boys and girls alike. So right now, just to get away from the seasonal series, we are moving this character into a dreams. And I just got today the author's copy of The Circus is Fun for Everyone. Of course, I took the controversial subject of circus. You know, I like to have controversial things to deal with. But yeah, you know, it's here. I already promoted the ebook for it. And it's very imaginary, as you mentioned. And I already got punished with awful review. The very first review that I got was absolutely awful, saying that kids cannot imagine circus to be fun.
Where'd they get that idea from? It is fun.
You know, and I'm absolutely not promoting the circus based on animals. I'm promoting the circus based on artists and wonderful artistry. Let's say, for example, I'll give you an example on maybe this page. I don't know if you can see it.
I don't think we can see it.
Are applauded by squirrels and birds that are the best tightrope walkers, right, in the natural world.
So what is driving you to do this? That's what interests me. What is the thing that's motivating you? Why would you do all this? What's the message you're trying to put across? Simply in one brief sentence.
To bring
not 10 paragraphs, just one sentence.
To bring children back into imagination world, because I see
there
them.
You go.
I teach young kids, and they come as a 2-3 years old to my preschool, not knowing how to put the pages in a book. They want to swipe the book. So they are so focused, they are so stuck on a digital world of the perfect images that I'm asking them to create images by listening to music. And they cry because nothing, whatever they scribble or whatever they do, looks as perfect as the pictures in the books recently that are digitally done. So that's why my book is really drawing driven again. So yeah, bringing kids back to the real world of imagination. This would be my goal.
Yep, I think that is essential. Of course, that's the thing that interests me more than anything else, because it's the greatest gift you have, so don't let it slip through your fingers. Do you? That's right. I mean, that's lovely. Is there anything else similar to that anybody wants to mention? I think these are really interesting.
Yeah, so
helpful to me.
Carola and Deb are saying thank you so much, Jonathan and April.
My pleasure.
For this great time.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Really wonderful. Haley, I see that you're off of mute. Do you have a question as well, Haley?
I was going to say, so I write totally different and probably more direct with a series that I have called FIFO the Bear. And it really is like a 1 or 2 page lesson spread. So it came about because my godson is high functioning autistic, and he doesn't have the patience to go through a whole story. And that paired with my favorite memory of my father reading to me when I was little, where he would read with all the kids, but separately at night. He'd come into my room, I got to pick a book, we'd read. So the 1 or 2 page lesson spreads are all meant for an older sibling or an adult to read with the child. So if the kids only have an attention span for 1 or 2 pages, you sit with them, like I have a book on emotions. You sit, you talk about being happy. The bear shows his happy face. He asks you to show your happy face. And then you go to the back of the book where there's a mirror. And sometimes you can do 1 or 2 emotions in the mirror, talk about it with the kids, and then if they don't have the patience to go on, then there's another lesson for another day. And then I have a book on the states, same thing.
The book has a mirror? The book has a mirror?
In the back of the book.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, so that way.
That idea, I love that idea. You can actually see the faces, then you can pull your own face. I love that. That's brilliant.
Right. And then the kids can recognize it within themselves and others. And I actually have gotten letters from parents of nonverbal kids that will point to how they're feeling instead, and then point to an object. And so that mirror and that book has become really handy with nonverbal.
Nice.
Well,
I love it. I love it. Yeah, that's really clever. I've never heard of that idea before. That's a really clever idea. FIFO the bear. I've actually seen your books on the group up there from time to time. Yeah.
They're just different. Then I've got like one on states where the little kids find like the state bird or the picture or a landmark in each of the states. So homeschoolers really like the FIFO the Bear series because parents will sit and do 1 or 2 pages. So it's a totally different thing. So sometimes it's a hard sell. I do really well at public events because then parents go through the books and see everything. So,
see how it works.
It's just a love for me. So I figured if no one else liked the books, I've got a bunch of books in my house that I absolutely love that I'll go through. So that's kind of it's a little bit different. So I thought I'd shoot that out there.
Thank you. Yeah, that's really, really clever idea. Yeah, very nice. Very heartwarming.
Thanks for sharing. Melanie, did you have something you wanted to chat about?
So, yes, I'm an art teacher. I have about 860 students. We just started school, and as part of my first day of classes, you know, we do seating assignments and go over rules and expectations. And then I tell them a little bit about me. And one of the things that I told this year, you know, that we like to go camping and kayaking and different things. And one of the things I said at the end was that I'm writing a children's book and I'm going to publish it this year. And immediately hands shot up. Everyone was asking, what's your book? What's it about? And I told them it's called Pessimistic Permelia. And it's about this little girl who's very pessimistic. And I asked the classes, do you know what the word pessimistic means? And nobody knew what that word meant. And so I said to them, have you ever had a day when you've gotten up in the morning and you've said, I just know everything is going to be awful. This is going to be the worst day ever. And immediately, you know, half the class was like, oh yeah, that's me all the time. Or, and they knew what it meant, but they don't know what the word means. So my book is about this little girl who hides under this umbrella. And it's kind of a metaphorical umbrella of pessimism. And she, when she feels like maybe things might be okay, she gets a little bit nervous and hides under her umbrella. And it's just about how she learns to, you know, that even though there's might be some things that are really hard in her life, she has to overcome that herself on her own. And I'm a very optimistic person myself. So it's something that's not normal for me to be very pessimistic.
This idea is such a lovely idea. I'm just listening to you describing it. The ethos behind it being that pessimistic. What was the name of?
Permelia.
Permelia. I mean, adults will know what that means, so it doesn't really matter. So, but the idea that she's it's going to be awful today, you know, and to lift kids out of that, fantastic. I love that. That's a really great idea. Cheer up. It's going to be okay. Life is good. Except that you're saying it by, here she's pessimistic. And I suppose it's proven otherwise in your story.
Yeah, she has to learn how to overcome that and how to kind of pull herself out of that.
Cool, excellent.
Yeah. And it's coming out beautifully. I've been actually so privileged to see some of the illustrations coming together on that book, and it is just amazing.
One pencil sketch so far, she's just darling. So I'm excited.
Yeah.
April, I've got about 6 or 7 minutes left, and I gotta go.
Yep. Anybody else have any?
I'm happy to talk a bit more. Yeah.
I think we're good, actually. I know that we did go over, and I do appreciate those of you that stuck around with us, and I will post the replay out there for others that missed it. But for those of you who are hanging out to spend time with me for our normal drop-in session, you can feel free to stay. And we will say goodbye to Jonathan. This has been just amazing. I love, love, love having you, and I hope you'll come back again and visit with us once your book is launched and you can tell us more about your launch and all of the things you're learning. I think it would be absolutely wonderful. And feel free to come and check out some of the other events we have, because I think we'd love to have you as a participant as well.
Yeah, thank you very much, April. I appreciate the time and trouble you've gone to set this up. I mean, I've just been fascinated to hear what people say, and I love being able the opportunity to tell people, about encouraging children's imagination. That for me is the most important thing.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Take care.
All right. Bye.
So for those of you that are remaining, hi, Bobby. We've missed you. How are you? Oh, wait a minute. You're on mute. Are you, Hank?
I've been here lurking.
Yeah, we've missed you. So are you going to be hanging out for a little while? I'm just wondering if I should let people know that you're there to answer questions as well, if they have any questions for you.
Sure, we're hanging out waiting for the hurricane, so it's okay.
Oh, I hope it's not. I hope it's going to stay far from you.
For a week.
So, guys, if you have any questions or like this time period, for those of you who are not in our work group, but you're hanging around with us, you're welcome to ask questions as well. We just kind of, we hang out here usually for an hour or two during, each week. For anybody that is working through their self-publishing process and they're stuck and they just need some guidance on a specific topic or on their book. So open for, any questions that you have. We can have a discussion, jump on some, take a look at some things together. We'll just let this flow wherever it goes.
Bobby, I actually do have a question really quickly. So you edited my book, Pessimistic Parmelia, and there's just about 2 lines I just feel really strongly that I need to add in here, just to give it a little bit of clarity. Like I said, when I went through my classes and they were really having a hard time understanding what this word meant, I just feel like there were a couple of things that I feel like I needed to add. Can I shoot that over to you sometime?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Anytime, absolutely.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
I know what it's like at the end, because I tweak my own and I tweak and I tweak and I tweak, and then I think something else. I'm happy to go through it for you.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, that's one of the benefits of working with Bobby, is that she is such a supportive person. When you got your book, and the other thing you're going to start seeing, I've been seeing more than just one sketch on your work. So we should touch base so that I can start showing you some of the new things that just got posted. Parmelia is coming together beautifully, and I know we're going to be meeting with Pencil Master soon to talk about it. But as the book gets illustrated as well, if you need additional feedback, both myself and Bobby are there to help with that as well.
Okay, wonderful.
I'd rather see people ask for advice rather than make some changes that might not be just right for the book.
Okay.
So I'm happy to look.
Okay.
Exactly. Stella, you're still here with us. Are you?
Yes, I am.
Did you, I know you said you were hanging around for me. Is there a specific topic that we can, I know you're going to be leaving soon, but is there something that you wanted to cover?
Well, it wasn't necessarily, it's something on the website. Since I'm new to this and I'm reviewing my fellow writers here and illustrators, where does it show that we have reviewed the 5 that we're supposed to review? Is that something we're supposed to note somewhere?
I'll go on there. Let me just share my desktop. So, and for those that don't understand what Stella's talking about, I have a Facebook group that I have invited everybody to join. And let me just go in here to Facebook.
Yeah, she has to learn how to overcome that and how to kind of pull her.
And it is called Self-Publishing Made Simple. Self-Publishing Made Simple Author Collaborative. So if you haven't joined already, feel free to join that group. And what this group is all about is to take individuals who are part of our group or those who have a similar philosophy, which is that we are here to support one another. We're here to encourage each other. And so as people are moving forward with their book launches, if we can build a cohesive group of people who are there to support them, then what I decided is I will give my promotion, keyword analysis, category analysis, and help for you when it's your turn. And so will the other members of this community. So what I don't want you to think is that I just want you to go on and provide reviews that you don't believe in. So what I am saying is that we should support one another. And I started listing the different books that have launched from this group. And so when you first go to this group, instead of dumping you in the discussion area, like here, it actually defaults to on the left side, it defaults to units, so that people would be able to find, and it's kind of organized in such a way like a classroom, discussion would be. So unit 1, I just put support 5 book launches by others. And so as I go into the different books, I can click on it and see that When You Feel Better launched by Misty Black, and it's got a link here. Now there are many ways that I can support this author. I can share information about her book on my social media. I can download her book when it's free and provide her with a review. I can pay for the book if it's something that really interests me, or it's for my grandkids that I think they're going to really like it. Then purchasing the book and actually going through that process is going to help this author. So what I want is for every individual to support 5 other people. I'm not saying you must support these 5 because we've got more coming. And maybe a review isn't something that you can do because of Amazon restrictions, or that that's just not where you're led with regard to a specific book. But if you can support them somehow, whether it's encouragement, reviews, downloads, purchase, whatever it is, then all you need to do is just click on the done button. So each one, when you've got these kind of review things, I'm just going to click done. So you can see my whole unit 1 is now complete. And because I manage this group, I actually have the ability to see like who's completed unit 1. So I'm trusting you that you're doing what you're saying that you're doing. So I don't need proof. I don't need you to do a screenshot. I actually had 1 or 2 people that would purchase a book, do a screenshot, send it to me, and then the book got returned the next day. I don't want that. That's not what I'm encouraging here. I'm encouraging collaboration, support, and just I want no one in this group to ever launch their book to crickets. So Stella, to answer your question, and I know I went about it a kind of a long way, is just go to that unit and take a look at new books that are getting published. If you are a member of this group or somebody who has joined my Facebook group and you also have a book that is being launched, let me know. I will get it added to the list, and it will become another option, another choice that people can support and help you on your journey as well with your book launch.
Great, that answers my question. I guess it's that little done
Just
piece
click
button right there that we're supposed to do.
Yep,
Great.
and then I'll get a little notification that says Stella has done Unit 1, and that means that from my perspective, if you've got 5, then I'm there for you, Stella. When it's your turn to go and move forward with your books, we'll be doing keyword analysis, categories. We'll take a look at your Facebook page. Your Amazon page, and I'll be there, as will these other individuals who are in the group, to help support your efforts as well.
That's wonderful. I'm a real cheerleader, and I've been sharing these on my Facebook site, and then I've also been going on to the Amazon. As you know, I've had a little problem where I haven't met the spending minimum, but I got around that and got onto my husband's Facebook or Amazon, because he has met that minimum. So I'll just go ahead and continue that way. But I just didn't know how you were able to keep track of who is following through with what we were asked to do. So, and
Yeah.
I'm happy to do it.
Great. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, April.
Great. Does anyone else have any questions or anything for me or for Bobby?
I mean, if I could just ask, it's Annette again. If I could just ask.
Okay. And it is called Self-Publishing Made Simple. Self-Publishing Made Simple Author Collaborative. So if you haven't joined already, feel free to join that group. And what this group is all about is to take individuals who are part of our group, or those who have a similar philosophy, which is that we are here to support one another. We're here to encourage each other. And so as people are moving forward with their book launches, if we can build a cohesive group of people who are there to support them, then what I decided is I will give my promotion, keyword analysis, category analysis, and help for you when it's your turn. And so will the other members of this community. So what I don't want you to think is that I just want you to go on and provide reviews that you don't believe in. So what I am saying is that we should support one another. And I started listing the different books that have launched from this group. And so when you first go to this group, instead of dumping you in the discussion area, like here, it actually defaults to on the left side, it defaults to units, so that people would be able to find, and it's kind of organized in such a way like a classroom, discussion would be. So unit 1, I just put support 5 book launches by others. And so as I go into the different books, I can click on it and see that When You Feel Better launched by Misty Black, and it's got a link here. Now there are many ways that I can support this author. I can share information about her book on my social media. I can download her book when it's free and provide her with a review. I can pay for the book if it's something that really interests me, or it's for my grandkids that I think they're going to really like it. Then purchasing the book and actually going through that process is going to help this author. So what I want is for every individual to support 5 other people. I'm not saying you must support these 5, because we've got more coming. And maybe a review isn't something that you can do because of Amazon restrictions, or that that's just not where you're led with regard to a specific book. But if you can support them somehow, whether it's encouragement, reviews, downloads, purchase, whatever it is, then all you need to do is just click on the done button. So each one, when you've got these kind of review things, I'm just going to click done. So you can see my whole unit 1 is now complete. And because I manage this group, I actually have the ability to see like who's completed unit 1. So it's trust, I'm trusting you that you're doing what you're saying that you're doing. So I don't need proof. I don't need you to do a screenshot. I actually had 1 or 2 people that would purchase a book, do a screenshot, send it to me, and then the book got returned the next day. I don't want that. That's not what I'm encouraging here. I'm encouraging collaboration, support, and just I want no one in this group to ever launch their book to crickets. So Stella, to answer your question, and I know I went about it a kind of a long way, is just go to that unit and take a look at new books that are getting published. If you are a member of this group or somebody who has joined my Facebook group and you also have a book that is being launched, let me know. I will get it added to the list, and it will become another option, another choice that people can support and help you on your journey as well with your book launch.
Great, that answers my question. I guess it's that little done
Just
piece, button right there that we're supposed to do.
Yep,
Great.
and then I'll get a little notification that says Stella has done unit 1, and that means that from my perspective, if you've got 5, then I'm there for you, Stella. When it's your turn to go and move forward with your books, we'll be doing keyword analysis, categories. We'll take a look at your Facebook page. Your Amazon page, and I'll be there, as will these other individuals who are in the group, to help support your efforts as well.
That's wonderful. I'm a real cheerleader, and I've been sharing these on my Facebook site, and then I've also been going on to the Amazon. As you know, I've had a little problem where I haven't met the spending minimum, but I got around that and got onto my husband's Facebook or Amazon because he has met that minimum. So I'll just go ahead and continue that way. But I just didn't know how you were able to keep track of who was following through with what we were asked to do. So, and yeah. I'm happy to do it.
Great. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, April.
Great. Does anyone else have any questions or anything for me or for Bobby?
If I could just ask, it's Annette again. If I could just ask how it's possible. Sorry, maybe I was just, not listening correctly. I was trying to put my kids to sleep in the meantime. How possibly I could get my book added to your page, to your Facebook group?
Absolutely.
I'm not active in the videos too much, but I'm looking at the books and supporting with the reviews and so on. And actually, I believe tomorrow, 4th and 5th, is it tomorrow and after tomorrow? Yeah, on the 4th and 5th, the ebook will be free to purchase on Amazon. And I'm terrified. As I said, I just literally today got this book printed. Mm-hmm. It looks okay. I'm terrified to hit the magic button on Amazon to have the paperback available.
Yeah.
But I think this night I'm going to do it.
Okay. Well, send me an email, april@thelittleLabradoodle.com, and send me the link of the book so that I can post it into this group, and then I'll work on making sure that others understand that it's there. And we'll ask others to take a look, to review, to share, and to download your book.
Awesome. Thank you. I'll do it tonight after the meeting.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Anyone else? Hi, Brenda. How are you? How's Angelina?
I'm good. Thanks, April. Angelina's really good. Just on the whole sharing, supporting each other, I totally support that. I was a little worried when I heard from somebody else in a different Facebook group that they had their review privileges revoked because they were in the same Facebook as some other people and they all were doing the reviews. So I totally support the idea behind it, but I'm a little worried that Amazon might see us all going into the same Facebook group and then penalize us. Have you heard of that? And is there anything that we can look at to make sure that that doesn't happen?
So what I have seen is that if people are exchanging reviews, so if I review your book and you review my book, I can understand how that would cause red flags. And I'm not 100% sure how Amazon's algorithms work. But if you don't feel comfortable with providing reviews, there are other ways. And I completely understand that if you're concerned about that, but you can share, you can encourage, you can
I'm good with doing the
purchase.
reviews too.
If you want to spend like a $2.99 for the ebook or something like that to help that individual, but you don't feel comfortable reviewing, then I'm sure that everybody can think of a way to support the launches that are going on.
April, I'm just thinking it's not about that. I'm happy to do the reviews, and I have been. It's sharing in the Facebook group that we're all doing it. So it's like keeping track in there, which is my worry. So I'm still purchasing and I'm still reviewing, but I'm connecting with that person separately outside of Facebook.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I'm sorry, I misunderstood what you were saying.
That's
What I can do is I can make that a private group so that nobody else can see what's going on there. I thought I had it as a private group already.
I think it's Amazon, and I think they have that privilege. I think they can see it, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I can't say one way or another, but I will take a look at the settings of my Facebook group and just see, because I do believe if we're not making it public, then there's no way others can take a look at what's there unless they have been granted permission by me to actually see what's in the group. But I'd have to do some more research, unfortunately. But thank you for raising that concern, Brenda. I appreciate that.
Yep.
May I just add something to it? Am I?
Sure.
Can you
I
hear
see
me?
you. Yep, I see you.
Yeah. I mean, I heard and I already tried it. I mean, it happens if you add people as your friends. It happens that the reviews are not posted. And I know that Facebook and Amazon through Facebook is tracking reviews posted by friends. That's why I'm not adding most of you to my friends, my personal friends on the account. And I just communicate via Messenger without adding you to the friends, because I know that those friends' reviews are not posted many times. On the other hand, I know for a fact that once you purchase the book that is available for free and you just add it to your cart like every other purchase, and you do the transaction on Amazon, then of course a few days later Amazon sends you an email. How would you rate this seller, or how would you rate this transaction? If you access the book through this email that was sent to you through Amazon, you are completely covered. And there is no other reviews because it's accessing the link from the Amazon email that they send you directly. So apparently this is a very clean way of just reviewing purchases, any purchases that you do on Amazon.
One other thing that can really be helpful is visiting the individual's Amazon page, or searching for the book, clicking on the image, visiting the page, and instead of dropping off at that point, add it to a wish list. Because now Amazon is not thinking you went in and you abandoned, you weren't interested. They see that you were going in and you are wishing for this book, and you've probably seen before on Amazon most wished for books. Like it ends up raising the profile of that book, and it's not much to do that. And if when somebody launches, there are 50 of us in this group, and we all go to the page and throw it in a wish list, that's quite powerful. And we can show Amazon that there's interest for this book and that it's a book that they should pay attention to. So I think those are other ways that we can support one another as well.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone else have questions? Melanie, would you like to take a look at some of the illustrations that are out there for you, or would you prefer to do that one-on-one? Hi, Melanie. I'm going to try to unmute you.
Sorry, yes, I'm fine to do that. That would be great.
Sure. Oh, I'm excited. I'm really excited to see what's out there. I saw them sent over to me. Pencil Master was sharing some things from their computer, so I'm hoping that I'm doing this right and that it is here waiting for you. 827. Yeah. Nope, that's not what I'm looking for. Rough pencil sketches. Aha! And you thought there was only one.
I've only seen one.
Okay. So, you can, I think most of you have probably heard the overview that Melanie provided about her little book, and the little character here, Pessimistic Permelia, is just absolutely adorable. And I will say that Pencil Master, so Pradeep Mehra, who I highly recommend for anyone looking for an illustrator, he is the one that has been working with this, him and his team of illustrators. And this is, I believe, one of the very lower end budget for this book. We had a very small budget and big plans for little Permelia. So they were able to work within Melanie's very tight budget to give just an amazing, cute little character here. These are just the pencil sketches.
I just lost it. Oh, shoot.
Permelia, are you here, Melanie?
Yeah, I just got out for just a second. Okay.
Oh.
There we go.
But let me know. I love this bathtub scene. That is adorable.
That is so cute. I was just trying to screenshot it so I could see.
Oh, don't worry. You've got access to the folder. We do everything in these folders, so we can add comments along the way. There's pessimistic.
You have to show me how to access that folder again. I don't know if I have that.
Okay, no worries. I will. So Permelia is in her pessimist. I love how they capture the emotion of this little character.
Yes, absolutely.
And I love that they give her some times of happy stuff going on too.
Yes.
And there's her with her umbrella that you talked about.
I love that one.
She's so adorable. So yeah, so there's the first batch, and they're working on the second batch, and you should have some more soon. They did want to talk with you about cover design and some of the additional things that are coming your way. So I think we had scheduled some time, and Pencil Master just was texting me saying that they needed to push the meeting out. So I'll work to reschedule with them and with you, Melanie, so that we can finalize things. But these are just adorable. I cannot wait to see how this comes together.
Yeah, they're darling. I'm excited.
And Patty?
Those really are very cute.
How are things going with you, Patty?
Melanie, a lot of direction.
You need a lot
Everything's
of
good.
Good. Good.
Did Melanie give a lot of direction, or did she just tell them to go for it?
I feel like I kind of did give them a lot of direction, but I was really very open to, you know, what they had to say, and I mean they're kind of the professionals with this, so I had a lot of direction as far as basically what I wanted the feel of the book to feel like and the character to kind of look like. The design that he's doing for me is a lot different than what he has currently in his portfolio, and so they're doing a kind of a whole new thing for me, which is exciting.
Yes, it's a cute little style. And
really
at the beginning of the project, it was important for us to talk through all of this with Pencil Master. So I've been coaching Melanie, and I also, Pencil Master is one of my illustrators, so I've kind of been bridging the gap and doing the project management for Melanie, as well as making sure that we get together and we walk through things. So at the beginning, it was really about the fact, trying to figure out what style we could do Melanie's book in that would be a style that she likes, but also would keep the budget low. And from Pencil Master's perspective, they did not want to sacrifice any quality, right? It had to be a high quality, beautiful book. So Pencil Master found a style and kind of suggested some things, and we worked with Melanie. We looked at a bunch of different things together, and they came up with a style that they were willing to do at a very low price because they were looking to add it to their portfolio. So they gave her a much lower price than it would normally be, so that they would have an opportunity to do this beautiful style. So you don't really see the whole full picture of the style yet because it's not colored. But that's a great way for authors who are looking to kind of, get a really good price for their book, is by collaborating with an illustrator and saying, look, this is what I can afford. What type of styles can we get? And I know Misty did the same thing with her book, where we went back and forth on different ways we could remove some detail, we could add more simplicity, and came up with a style that I think is looking absolutely gorgeous for her book as well.
Yes. Yeah. Well, that's great.
And you and I will spend some time. I think we have time on the calendar tomorrow, right, Patty, to walk through some of the stuff for your website and
Thursday.
Okay. So we'll make sure.
April, you've had problems with my credit card at Amazon.
Yeah, I just
I think go ahead.
Sorry, I was going to say I saw when I logged in to check on your ads and to help just to see whether or not they needed any tweaking. I saw that they had a message saying that there was an issue with the card. And the funny thing is, I logged into mine and I had the same issue. I had the same message. Mine, it had to do with my credit card is expired and a new one is on the way or whatever, but I didn't put the new card, like the new expiration date. So it could be something simple like that we just need to update the card.
I think I tried to get a little too fancy and put my Amazon advertising on my business card.
Oh.
Whereas I use my personal card for everything else. I think what I'm going to do tonight is go in and eliminate every card except the card that we're using, that I'll just use for everything. So it should be corrected after tonight.
Okay, well, let me know when that's done, and if I need to just hop in and check or guide you with, because sometimes you can add the cards, but you actually have to go into the specific ad area and say, yes, this card for ads. So it's just it might be a little extra click or guidance, and I'll get on with you if you want, and we can do it together.
Okay.
If
okay, I'll let you know when
if what you do doesn't resolve it, I'm glad to get on with you and help out.
Okay. All right. And I have nothing else.
Okay. Annetta, is there anything that you would like to chat about before? I think we're kind of running towards the end here. Got a couple more minutes, so if anybody, either Brenda or Annetta, if you have anything that you'd like to chat about.
I'm good. Thank you so much. I'll be sending you this email right after. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And just to all of you, if you'd be able even to take a look at it, I know you're all extremely busy and working on your own projects, but I appreciate any feedback, for better or worse, with all the motivational kicks in the, everything is very welcome.
I'm still waiting to see those.
What's the name of the book?
Circus is fun for everyone.
Annetta, I'm waiting to see the beautiful songs and stories that you talked about and you reviewed with me, because I think that is going to be such an amazing thing for kids. I can't wait to pick it up for my granddaughter.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Let me know if you want to meet up and chat.
Complex. It's crazy complex, and it's just hard to wrap my head around it. You know, it's just combining the music and videos and crafts and everything in it and the instruments. And just recently I'm packed with some articles to write for the magazines, the professional magazines. So it's a lot of pile up, but I'm getting there. I'm getting there, especially now where the circus is almost live and I have the hard copy in my hand.
Good, good. Yeah, and maybe just having somebody else to as a sounding board, and to think about backing it up and keeping it simple. Like, what's the very first, what they call minimum viable product that you would need to release? Because it could be a release of a book, and then you get people on your email list, you share the songs with them, and you know, like, there's other ways that you can build upon and use the different pieces that you've put together to help market and to provide additional value for the people that do purchase your book.
That's right.
Just something to think about.
So thank you again for tonight. It's wonderful to hear from all of you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. All right, everybody. Well, I will let you all go, and I will post this replay. It is actually, I recorded it in the cloud, so it will be, it's immediately available. I'll send out the link to everyone in case you want to go back, or if you want to share the link with others, you can feel free to do that as well. All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, April.